Hey everyone, what's up? How have you been? It's teacher Henrique here and I bring you another video class. Hope you like it. Today, we're going to explore lesson 1 from unit 11, and in this lesson, we're going to learn how to talk about situations that had happened in the past before other events happened. We're talking about two past situations, one that happened before the other. To talk about these things, we're going to need to learn how to use the past perfect. Para a lição de hoje, nós vamos aprender a falar de ações que tinham acontecido antes de outras ações acontecerem no passado. Como estamos falando de duas ações no passado, uma antes da outra, a gente vai ter de aprender um novo tempo verbal, que é o past perfect, para falar sobre essas atividades. Alright? Take a look at this screenshot. This is a screenshot from your book. And here we have Pedro telling a scary story that happened to him. Let's read the story together, and after, let's look further on it. As you know, my parents and I are spending the weekend at my aunt's house on the beach. It was late. My parents had already gone to bed. The neighbors had already turned off the lights and everything was silent outside. I could just hear the waves on the beach. I had just read a horror story and was ready to go to bed. Suddenly, I heard a noise. I went to the living room and turned on the lights. Nothing. Then I heard the noise again. It came from the kitchen. I slowly walked into the kitchen and opened the door. It was my neighbor's cat. And guess what? It had eaten all the fish my dad and I had caught in the morning. Alright, guys. First things first. We need to have in mind that this is a story. This is a narrative text. And in a narrative text, we tend to order the events in chronological order. Bom, pessoal, é importante lembrar que isso é um texto narrativo e, como a maioria dos textos narrativos, a gente ordena os eventos numa ordem cronológica. Especially because the events are in the past. Principalmente porque eles estão no passado. Okay? Here, we have situations that had happened previously in the past before Pedro told the story. Okay? For example, my parents had already gone to bed. Então, antes de ele vivenciar isso que ele está relatando, os pais deles já tinham ido para a cama. The neighbors had already turned off the lights. Então, antes dessa experiência que ele estava vivendo, os vizinhos já tinham desligado as luzes. E o próprio Pedro já tinha acabado de ler uma história de terror. Ele diz, I had just read a horror story. Então, ele percebe que tinha um gato, na verdade, lá, e ele diz o seguinte, It had eaten all the fish my dad and I had caught in the morning. Ou seja, naquele momento em que ele chegou na cozinha, ele percebeu que era o gato e que ele tinha comido todo o peixe que ele e o pai dele tinham pegado de manhã. Alright? So, this combination of had and the past participle gives us the past perfect tense. Alright? Let's dive into this verb tense now. We use the verb tense past perfect, as we have here, to talk about events in the past, of course. But it's important to remember, we need to have at least two events. One that happened before the other. Então, quando a gente usa o past perfect, a gente tem que sempre ter em mente que estamos tratando de dois eventos, dois acontecimentos no passado, um antes do outro, ok? And usually we are going to use these words after, before, and by the time with the present perfect to separate the two actions in the time. Então, para separar as duas ações no tempo, né, para deixar marcado bem direitinho qual que aconteceu antes, qual que aconteceu depois, nós vamos usar after, before, and by the time. Right? For example, I'm going to use some situations from the text. Se eu quero dizer, meus pais tinham ido para a cama quando eu ouvi um barulho, eu vou dizer, my parents had gone to bed when I heard a noise. Or, my parents had gone to bed by the time I heard a noise. It's the same thing. We can use when and by the time interchangeably. Então, a gente pode alternar entre when e by the time no past perfect. Okay? So, my parents had gone to bed is the first situation. After that, I heard a noise. Okay? Both situations in the past. If I want to say, for example, depois que eu tinha lido uma história de terror, eu ouvi um barulho na cozinha. I'm going to say, after I had finished reading a horror story, I heard a noise in the kitchen. So, first, I finished reading the horror story. Then, I heard a noise in the kitchen. Okay? Observe that if we need to use when or by the time, these expressions come before the simple past. Então, when e by the time, antes do verbo no simple past. After is used before the situation in the past perfect. Okay? If I want to say, quando eu vi o gato, ele tinha comido todo o peixe pego de manhã. When I saw the cat, or by the time I saw the cat, it had eaten all the fish caught in the morning. So, first, it had eaten the fish, and after, I saw the cat. Be careful with the order of the words. They don't necessarily mean that the situations happened in the exact same order. Então, a ordem das palavras na frase não vai nos dizer a ordem cronológica dos acontecimentos, ok? O que vai dizer é o uso do simple past e do past perfect. Sempre o past perfect sendo mais no passado ainda, ou seja, antes ainda, do que a ação no simple past. Beleza? Ok? Então, isso tem que ficar muito claro. Só usamos o past perfect para falar de uma ação que aconteceu no passado antes de uma outra ação, que também está no passado. Alright? Formation of this. Had, verb in the past participle, third column, and after that, verb in the simple past. The negative of had is hadn't. Alright? So, for example, the film had started when we got to the cinema. First the film started, then we got to the cinema. The mall had closed before I arrived there. First the mall closed, then I arrived there. By the time the teacher started the class, I had already opened my book. First I opened my book, then the teacher started the class. In negative sentences, we would have, for example, he hadn't been to the countryside before we took him. First, he didn't go to the countryside. Then, we took him. When Jack came home, his kids hadn't woken up. First, the kids didn't wake up. Then, Jack came home. After she had marked the answer, she rethought about it. First, she marked the answer. than she rethought. All right? It's easy. We have already learned the present perfect, and this is so much more difficult than the past perfect, okay? So past perfect is going to be a piece of cake. Don't worry. All right, guys. So to prove to you that this is very much used, it's common in the language, it's common in Portuguese, it's common in English, I brought here some texts for us to observe the behavior of past perfect here, right? Let's take a look into one of these texts. Here, Lizard Island, Australia. I spent an unforgettable week in the Coral Sea recently on vacation. I had never been to such a beautiful place, with long sandy beaches, brilliant blue water, amazing diving, just minutes off the beach. That makes you feel like you're swimming in an aquarium. This is Lizard Island. I had never been to such a beautiful place. Eu nunca tinha ido num lugar tão bonito. Coral Adventure, Kenya. I have been to the East Africa coast many times. This time we did not want a diving safari, which we had done previously. Just time out there, unraveling the mysteries of the coral reefs from the comfort of our glass-bottom boat. The weather was good, providing us with a generous rendezvous, which we had done previously, que nós tínhamos feito antes. Coral reefs in Florida Keys, the United States. There's something truly magical about diving over and along the reef, observing all the marine life that is so busy there. It scares me to think how fragile this underwater world is that I so enjoy watching. Here, we don't have a past perfect situation. It's common. Abrolhos Marine National Park in Brazil. My geography teacher had already told me that Abrolhos Bank was considered one of the world's most important reefs. I am glad to have the opportunity to see it with my own eyes. Abrolhos is very beautiful. It harbors a high number of marine species found only in Brazil, including species of soft corals, mollusks, and fish found only in the Abrolhos Shelf. My geography teacher had already told me that Abrolhos Bank was considered one of the world's most important reefs. Então, o meu professor de geografia já tinha me dito que o Recife aí de Abrolhos era considerado um dos mais importantes recifes do mundo. Alright? So here you have the past perfect structures. Now let's think a little bit, guys, and join together these sentences. Okay, we have beginnings of sentences and endings of sentences. How can we connect them? Please do it mentally, and right after that, speak out these sentences, these situations, right? Speak out so you can practice your fluency, your pronunciation, and the use of the past perfect. Deal? Alright, guys. That's it for today. Hope you have enjoyed the lesson. Remember to do your homework from the book and also to listen to the audios. It's really important. Bye. See you again.